Hey everyone, it's Scott and Janie from the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. And we wanted to let you know that we're taking a little bit of a break for the holidays.
This week, we're going to be recapping the most popular 10 episodes of WTF for 2020.
And if you want to watch the full episode of any of these clips, you can find it in the links in the description below. And we cannot wait to see you in the new year.
Happy holidays. And at number 10, we have our plant-based burger, which is super exciting because it's the first of our really awesome plant-based recipes that we're so proud of. Please enjoy.
So this recipe makes 1 pound. We wanted to make it so we could show like, okay, this is 1 pound of meat. And if you were to purchase 1 pound of meat from a different supplier, let's say just like a big name brand, right? And you can see how easy it was for me to lift that and patty it up. So it looks like a nice burger. I'm just gonna coat the bottom of the pan and place it down and just give it a press so it has like even distribution. I can get rid of my gloves now.
Yeah, so and it really just tastes better because we have like taste tested against like all the other burgers out there, and ours just like, it just has like a real meatiness and juiciness. I think as part of that is, I think it must have to do with the fat content because like it really like has such a nice feel when you eat it. So it does end up being like a little under $5.50 a pound for meat, which is like if you're getting good ground meat, you're paying more than that anyway for like beef, right?
Yeah, but I just want to show you, and I will sacrifice my hands for the viewer. Just
Chef hands.
If I pull this up right now, you can see just how juicy it is. I can give it a squeeze. You can see that fat and juice coming out of it, right? It is very hot, I'll let you know. But the juiciness of it, it has that chew, that texture that you look for in a burger, and it holds up. And coming in at number 9 is our Carrageenan episode. One of my favorite ingredients is actually the vegan gelatin, and you can find a great recipe in this episode for it. So check it out. Vegan flan. So a lot of the recipes I see online use cornstarch to make vegan flan.
Or agar, right?
Yeah, or agar, yeah, exactly. And agar can give a really off-putting texture. It's a bit too chewy, it's a bit too brittle.
Yep.
With our vegan gelatin, which we use in this flan, it's a proprietary blend. I've found that this has a really almost creamy texture too, so did a little playing around with it, and I was able to make a beautiful vegan flan recipe. Yeah. So I put it into a mason jar. It's just really easy for storing. You can put it into whatever container you want, and I just simply go around the outside, and you can see it's already starting to pull apart. The best thing you want to do here is not try and flop it out, but invert, flip it over. Sometimes I have to get in there with my spatula again, make a little air bubble. There we go.
Perfect.
Yes.
So we're just gonna like live scoop it here so that you can kind of see how it separates.
Yes, and the best part about this is you're never gonna get that flan that gets overcooked and gets gritty. So you're always gonna have that nice, beautiful, creamy flan.
So look how nice that is. It just separates with an agar or like some other gelling agent. It's just gonna all fall apart.
Yep. So it's creamy, custardy, just like a traditional flan would be.
So good. It is so good. Next up, at number 8, is Vital Wheat Gluten. Now, growing up in China, I ate a lot of seitan, so I was really happy to see us feature it here at WTF. Watch it here.
I took it and I sliced it into pretty much just little like kind of medallions that we have here. And we're gonna make orange chicken, but it's gonna be orange seitan. So I'm gonna take this here and I'm going to put them in and just sear them up. And the good thing about this is that it is a protein, so it will get nice and golden brown. This is starting to look good. There's some nice golden brown edges on this. So basically all I'm gonna do is add in our sauce here.
That sauce looks good.
So this sauce is very simple. I kind of mentioned it before. Garlic, ginger, scallions, soy sauce, orange juice, and sambal. So just some chili. And I reduced it about 75% of the way because I wanted to get it on this seitan, allow it to cook a little bit more, and really kind of, adhere to the outside of it. And then we'll put it on some nice white rice. And I made the rice a bit aromatic with a little bit of star anise and some cardamom. So.
Now, would you say the seitan, if you do want to kind of just make a batch of it and you love it, but you can't eat it all at once, do you think it freezes well and people can use part of it?
Oh, it freezes
off? Okay.
Just like if you were freezing bread or something like that, as long as you wrap it up nice, it's going to be perfect. So we have this here. We're starting to get nice and coated on the outside. So I'm going to just put this over our rice.
And if somebody was making the dough, how long would you say it would be ready before they can start cutting it up and stuff?
So after you either steam it or poach it, it can be used once it's cool.
Okay.
So it takes about 25 minutes either in the steamer or when you're poaching it. And then after that, just cool it down to the touch, and then you're able to just cut it up and use it right away.
Okay, so really
So you don't
easy.
have to, it doesn't take a day or anything like that.
Okay.
At max, it could probably take you an hour to just have the whole thing ready to go.
Okay, so that's like a great thing to do on the weekend or something. You just make a batch and you can cook it up over a couple different days, over a couple different preparations.
And just to finish this up, just some scallions over the top. And Janie, if you want, it's probably hot,
Okay.
but go right ahead. Try not to
Alright.
burn your face off. And coming up at number 7 is soy lecithin, one of our most versatile ingredients here at Modernist Pantry. Check it out. So we made some apple cider cinnamon rolls, and we have 2 different batches. The one on the right here is made with the soy lecithin powder. You can see the color's really nice. They're a little bit more plump, and the ones on the left here are, you see they're almost wilted. They've almost shrunken, and these are the exact same recipe. The only difference is adding soy lecithin powder to one of them.
All right.
So the soy lecithin powder holds in that moisture, so they don't stale as quickly.
Okay, and you baked these at the exact same time. We didn't do this one 2 days in advance.
This is a side-by-side comparison, yeah. So
Okay.
they're the exact same recipe, and you can just see the moisture just comes right out of this.
And just so we can kind of show that these are really cool. If we kind of tap on them.
Yeah,
we break
these right
them
here
up.
are nice and soft, and you can't hear anything. You can see that they're still nice and soft. But these, you can hear like a knocking.
You're right.
So
they're super, super hard.
So let's just say for an example, your recipe has 100 grams of flour. You're only going to need 1 gram of soy lecithin powder. And then you just mix it in with your flour and go about your recipe as normal. That way it doesn't change your recipe, it doesn't change the method, it doesn't change the cook temp. You just go about it as normal, and it's going to keep it better for longer. But anything that has the majority fat, I would suggest using liquid soy lecithin, because you can mix it right into your fat before you make a dressing. And these 2 dressings, like these cinnamon rolls, the exact same recipe. I did them side by side. This one I mixed the liquid soy lecithin into the oil, but it makes an emulsion that stays for much longer. As you can see, the one on the right here is breaking, and it's separating out all the vinegar. And even though there's honey in it, which does act as a little emulsifier, it's going to separate eventually. And I made these yesterday, and you can see that they're already separating. And I mixed them up before. While I mixed this one up, I don't have to mix up the one that's emulsified. It's starting to separate out.
And taking up the 6th spot is whipping siphons, where we show you all the different ways that you can use a whipping siphon in your own kitchen. Stay tuned.
And I have some warm prosciutto consomme here.
Okay.
Right, so I make the prosciutto consomme and I put it in here. We're making a hot and cold soup. I'm just going to add in, to sprinkle in my foam magic.
So foam magic is wonderful because it creates this like creamy, stable foam.
Yes.
So it's a great product.
So once that top is on, you pull it until it is tight. You place the charger directly inside, and you're going to charge it. With these, you want to charge them at least twice. It's always a good bet to charge them twice. One quick thing is there was oxygen in here, correct?
Yep.
So when I add that N2O, it pushes all the oxygen to the top. So I'm just going to give it a quick, and I get out all the oxygen.
There you go.
It's that simple. So I'm going to get rid of my spent charge. I'm going to do a second one. So this hot foam is going to sit on top of our chilled it's cantaloupe and lychee soup.
Ooh, that
so we
sounds
make
good.
similar to it's kind of an older fashioned dessert, which is prosciutto wrapped around cantaloupe. So this we do the same exact flavors in a soup form. So I'm just going to give it a shake. And then I'm going to pump it directly on top of our melon soup.
Ooh, look how great that looks.
Great. And then I'm going to just garnish with a little bit.
And you said it's Parmesan in that foam?
No, prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
So I'm just going to set a piece of crispy prosciutto. You just pretty much bake in a low temperature oven. And we have this beautiful soup that is hot and cold, sweet and savory, and you can serve to your guests. You can take it, just drink it right out of the glass. And we're at the halfway point with xanthan gum, one of the most mainstream modern ingredients, and it has tons of great uses. Check this out. This has no xanthan gum, so you can see it flows easily.
Right, just like water.
Yep, it's just like water. If you have the correct amount of xanthan gum, you get a nice bead off of it, and it'll give a good mouth texture. But if you overdo it with xanthan gum, because you use it in such a small quantity, people think you have to add a teaspoon or a tablespoon of these ingredients. But this, you need to add such a small amount, because if you do add a teaspoon or a tablespoon, you end up with this gloopy mess, which some people call snotty, and I don't think that's delicious for anyone.
It certainly isn't, yeah.
So another part of our demonstration here, this is 1 liter of water measured out. And with these ingredients, we absolutely suggest getting a small capacity measuring tool, a scale, to measure these out, because this right here is the correct amount to start measuring with, and that is 0.05% of the weight of this 1 liter of water. This is from the pickle recipe that we have at blog.modernistpantry.com. We took it, we diced them up, and then we make a relish out of it. And generally at home, you'll make a relish and it will drip, and all the liquid will just sink to the bottom.
There's
but
a lot
with
of
this,
plopping.
yeah, you can't see any liquid coming off this. Even if I tilt the spoon, no liquid's coming off, because it's helping with that suspension. It's keeping those, the little diced up cubes in with the liquid. So when you spread it on something, it goes on evenly, just like you would if you had it at, you bought it at a grocery store.
Right.
It's always in that beautiful consistency. That's xanthan gum for you.
And heading into our top episodes with number 4 is Culinary Foams. This is one of our very first WTFs with Mark. Hi Mark, if you're watching, enjoy learning all about foams.
And I'll just show you the side-by-side, a nice side-by-side comparison of a lacy foam next to that dense foam. And you can see this is the exact same ingredient with 2 different preparations in the exact same liquid. Yeah. This is called foam magic. And this is personally my favorite ingredient for foaming, because I can make an extremely stable foam that is either lacy or dense. So the soy lecithin powder is the far to your right. The sucrose esters is the one next to it. And you can kind of see that they're starting to dissipate, and they're almost like coming together, meeting in the middle, right? Yeah. So those ones are starting to lose their air. And that's an issue with these two, but this has also been 10 minutes. So if you plate something, you put it on there, and then you send it to the table, you're still going to have that nice, beautiful foam, and you're going to have an ingredient, as you can see, they're in a different color packaging from the other two, that does more than one thing. So these work for emulsification and foaming. Yeah. Then the third one we're going to talk about is polysorbate 80, which amazing for emulsification. Probably one of the best emulsifiers out there. Yes. Okay. It's food grade polysorbate 80. Amazing emulsifier. You can do a nice lacy foam with this. And unlike these two only make lacy foams. You can't put them into a whipping siphon, and you can't make a dense foam out of them. But with the polysorbate 80, you can make a dense foam out of it. You can make a lacy foam out of it. This last one, you can see it's starting to break down, but it's definitely the highest, the most firm foam, lacy foam that we have on this side. And this is actually an amazing ingredient called VersaWhip 600K. We just call it VersaWhip sometimes. You take a small amount of this and you add it to any liquid. It could be straight vinegar, and you can make a meringue out of it. And you can get it to, nice soft peak meringue. Yeah. We use this in our...
I'm trying to envision a vinegar meringue. Yeah, it's actually kind of
it looks, if you make it out of balsamic vinegar, it's like a nice brown meringue that you can put on something, and you can see how well it's foamed here, right? It's gorgeous. And coming in at number 3, Diastatic Malt Powder. Easily one of our best baking ingredients and 2 great recipes. If you like baking, have a look. So we made donuts and bagels, 2 kind of breakfast breads, and the reason why we did it is we wanted that nice, beautiful golden crust, and we wanted it to be even. So in these 2 bagels, this is a good example. This is the same exact recipe as the one to the left of it.
but you can see how uneven it is, right? There's white spots, and we cooked them at the exact same time, exact same conditions. So you can definitely see how much more even and beautiful this is. And you can also see it's a little bit more plump too, right? So that yeast had more time to rise, and it, well, it had the exact same time, but it had more food to help the rise.
Yeah, this is definitely a much tastier looking bagel for sure.
So the amount can vary really to whatever you're making, but you really want to use like half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon per cup of flour. That's really what it's going to be. It may, you may be making a recipe where, oh, I think I need a little bit more, I think I need a little bit less, but just make sure you start off at that ratio, 1/2 to 1 teaspoon per cup of flour. The demo is really cool because we're going to be making donuts, and we went through quite a bit of testing to nail down a beautiful donut recipe. And so I'm going to fry this donut, the donut with the hole punched out in the middle. I'm going to fry it for 1 minute on each side, and I'm going to do that for 4 total minutes. So it's going to be flipped 4 times. You can see how beautifully even this is. So when I put it down,
I love that color.
Right, it's gorgeous. It has a nice, like, you can hear it. It's a little crisp on the outside and soft on the inside. I'm just going to give this one more flip. We would have to let these cool. We
do not
have to let them cool. Yeah.
Burn our mouths. Okay.
You could eat them warm, but I would suggest, if you're going to do that, just drizzle some, frosting over the top. But it's always best let them cool, and then you can dip them like we did with all of these. But I think really all we have to do is eat these.
And our penultimate WTF episode at number 2 is ice cream stabilizers. This episode was so popular, we did a follow-up for each single one of these ingredients. Don't miss it. Watch it here.
Perfect ice cream, very easy to use. You just mix it into your cream and milk, usually when you scald it before you make your custard. If you're doing an American style, I would bring that milk up to a scald right before a simmer, right before a boil, and then you can mix it in. Make your normal American-based ice cream. Gelato has a lower fat content and a more dense texture. Our proprietary blend here has a little bit of locust bean gum, which helps with that dense texture, that helps with that creaminess, especially when you have a lower fat content. It's really amazing in there. And the perfect sorbet I really like because you're adding it to something that's usually fresh. Right here we have strawberry sorbet. We don't want to heat those strawberries and kind of change the flavors of them and mute the flavors. We want a bright, vibrant kind of strawberry flavor, right?
Right.
So this one's easy. You can just pour it into your sugar, mix it in a blender, and then churn it immediately. And that's what I did with this. I made it in about an hour this morning from start to finish. Dairy-free ice cream, yeah. So no matter what you're trying to do with dairy-free ice cream, usually there's more water content to it. So it depends on whether or not you want to heat it. You could go with the perfect sorbet for a dairy-free ice cream easily if you don't want to heat it. If you were making it, say, out of almond milk, because sometimes heating almond milk will have grittiness to it.
Right.
So if you're using soy or something like that, maybe you want to go with a gelato. Really, they work for everything, but if there's more water content, go with something like the perfect sorbet.
And finally, coming in at number 1, Instaferm Instant Yeast, coming from the back of the line all the way to the front this year. And when you see the episode, you'll know why. Let's start with the focaccia first.
Okay.
We added some 4 grams, like I said, to the total weight of the recipe. And this is just a little half batch here. And what we did is we let this sit overnight. And you can see all those little air bubbles in there, right? And that's what gives bread its signature structure. It's trapped in between all the starch and the gluten. And if you want to hold this, feel how light that's a large piece of bread.
It is.
But it's nice and light.
It's super fluffy.
Yes.
And what's this other one?
So this is monkey bread, and we took, it's kind of a caramelized monkey bread. And I took the idea of a Queen Amman, which is basically croissant dough that's rolled in cinnamon sugar, and it's baked, and it makes like this real crispy glaze on the bottom. So we took the ideas from those, and we actually made caramel. We found this worked the best. We were to make a caramel. We added a good amount of salt and some cinnamon to the caramel. And then we tossed the pieces of dough in that caramel, stuffed them into muffin tins. So they're all individual monkey breads. You can see all these crispy, gooey, glazed bits. And on the top, just a little bit more of that caramel. So when you cook it, it's not just crispy from the dough, it's crispy from that nice caramel. And this is a delicious recipe. It's basically a once a month type of recipe just because of the amount of fat in it, but it's a delicious thing. And we're really proud of this recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you'll get recipes, Ask a Chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the test kitchen helping you create memorable and magical experiences.